Hi guys, I'm Dao King, and today will be my last video on Sphere. And the reason it is my last video on Sphere is because I think I covered it extraordinarily well. Better and more insightful than most people have. And no one cares. You don't care? It's okay. I don't need to cover this shit. It's basically it. And I also had a couple Sphere guys reach out to me. We had a talk, and I wish Sim would have done this. I had a long talk with a couple, actually over voice chat too. And this is my account that I brought up here. I'll go through it with you. And the part of the talk, and these guys were whales. These are with hundreds of thousands of dollars. And I said, if you sell, you're going to destroy it. And they're like, we're not going to sell, Dao King. We're not going to sell. We believe in Sam. We believe in what he's doing. We believe in what he is. I assume he's a human, not a cyborg or anything, because they worship him. They do. They really do. They have a lot of faith in him. So I had to take a step back, and there's a big learning lesson here. I learned a lot from Sphere. I actually like overall what Sphere does. If you listen to what I said, where I was critical at Sphere was because they were saying they're the S&P 500 of crypto. I found that to be false marketing. I think it would actually do them better to change that. I actually gave some suggestions in what to say, like the future infrastructure of crypto, the revolution of infrastructure of crypto, the liquidity, the army of liquidity of crypto. There's so many ways to describe it. You don't need to be attached to something old. And by the way, they all agreed with me. I actually had a chat with them about that, and they all agreed with me. They sided with me. They said, Dao King, you're right. They said, DK, you're right. And they're like, we've talked to Sim about it. I'm like, good. What do I really think about Sphere? I think it has potential. I'll be straight up with you. I just don't like some of the, let's say, the marketing side of it, the false narrative side of it. I don't like calling yourself the S&P of crypto and then putting out announcements that are, using words like revenue overload. And I've been through it. I don't even want to talk about it anymore. I'm done. If you guys at Sphere were offended, I apologize. We're good now. We're friends. Your whales have reached out to me. Talked to a couple of them. They said they're not going to sell. They said they believe in Sam. So who the fuck am I to judge it? I had put $5 in just to kind of see what happens. I don't remember when, but maybe a month ago. I'm at $4.25. And if I take the sell tax out, I'm like at 3 something. So it's not that easy to make money, but on Sphere. But I just wanted to point something out. The things that I have learned from Sphere, from Sim, what we have learned is actually more important than Sphere, by the way. What Sim has done is to run another DeFi experiment. In this DeFi experiment he has run, I have learned some things that I think are very powerful. And I appreciate people like Sim who are willing to take the risk and to do crazy shit and do crazy things that I would think wouldn't work. And one of the things he did was when he stopped the rebase, he kept the tax. Terrible idea, right? Looking back at it, yeah, it's terrible, but it's actually helping the protocol. Because, even with this volume, which isn't a lot, $48,000, as long as you got some sells in there, which there doesn't seem to be that many, more buys than sells, but they're still generating income on this $48,000. They're probably generating a good $5,000 to $10,000 a day on this. I can't hate the game on this. If you would have told me I have a token for you, you're going to pay 25% sell tax. You're going to pay it. And it's not going to rebase. I'll be like, get the fuck out of here. You're crazy. Get out of here. Get out of here. Get out of my office. But Sim has taught us an important lesson. Crypto is different than buying stocks. I mean, these things are not even considered securities. So, of course, it's very different. This, I don't even know what you would even categorize this as. It's such a unique project. So the lesson here is more tokens should probably implement some sort of tax. And people in crypto are more than willing to pay it. Of course, this is a really large community, and the volume would be more if the tax was obviously less. There'd probably be more selling, but this is really interesting. This is an experiment, and I kind of like it. And I can't believe people were willing to pay 13% buy tax and a 20% sell tax before. Now it's just a 25% sell tax. And then in a stroke of wisdom, what Sim did was actually really smart. When he took away the buy tax, was right here, this thing erupted, right? So, it's pretty smart. He's a smart guy. Now he's got the sell tax, so you're not really incentivized to sell. You're incentivized to buy. And you're hoping one day the sell tax gets dropped or lowered so that you can get out of it with a good profit. So it's almost game theory here now at this point. I mean, it's interesting. I don't mind it. My main problem was with the marketing side of it. But no one's listening to me, so it's okay. Another reason I'm not going to cover Sphere again is I've covered it pretty, I think, in depth. But most people who own Sphere, I've realized, don't give a shit. Don't care. Don't care what YouTubers have to say. There's some communities that don't give a fuck. They just don't give a fuck. Safuu community doesn't give a fuck. You could tell Safuu, Brian Legend is doing XYZ. They'd be like, you know what, man? He's fucking God on earth. Go fuck yourself. Yeah, legit. You could say the same thing to Sphere. There's certain communities that don't give a shit. So you got to know what's what. Sphere community doesn't give a fuck. They don't even watch my videos. They don't even give a fuck. They don't care. And they know about all the risks. They don't care about the liquidity pool being where it is, being low. They don't care about. And you know what? That's a good community. That's a good community. I like that community. That's a good community. DeFi is a lesson we're all learning. I'm a relatively new YouTuber. I haven't even been doing this for, I think, 8 months now or something like that. It's a learning lesson, guys. I'm sorry if I offended any of you guys over at Sphere, any of the holders, any of the community, Sim, any of these guys. It's a learning lesson for us too. I thought, maybe people give a fuck what I had to say. They don't give a fuck. I've learned that in DeFi, you can actually be right, and people were like, yeah, so what? It's amazing. I've learned a lot, and you know what? It is what it is. It's unusual. DeFi is on a whole nother level, guys, and it's not easy to run these projects. It's really difficult. So you got to cut these guys. At the end of the day, I got to cut these guys some slack. These projects are incredibly difficult to run. Sim has done a lot with what he's built in a short period of time. I mean, if you compare it to other rebase projects and other ones in the same period of time, he's done quite a bit. I got to give credit where credit is due. Would I buy? I know what you're going to ask. DK, are you going to buy? Well, I own $5 of it. I wanted to see what happens. I'm still down on it. The buying really comes down to the chart, guys. It's really where you feel comfortable. Do you think the whales are going to dump? I talked to some really big ones, by the way. It doesn't seem like they're going to dump. I mean, it's not financial advice. You guys have to do your own research on this stuff. At least the ones that told me, they're like, we're in it long term. We believe in it. I brought up the revenues and stuff, but they think the revenues are going to expand greatly. Everyone has the right to their opinion. Everyone does, and it's okay. This is a downward cycle right now. He took away the buy tax. So if this comes back to where the buy, like closer down here, it's not really, well, it is. It's quite a bit of a fall. I don't know if it's going to go that low. I would assume it's probably going to settle somewhere around here. Like around here. I don't know. This chart might actually backfill here. But if it reaches back to where it was before the buy tax was still there, That might be a good deal. I might consider it and just hold some, not a lot, because I don't know when the sell tax is going to go away. The biggest issue is going to be the sell tax at this point for a lot of people. But there's no rebase at this point, so you're basically counting on the project revenues picking up. So I don't know if it's a project for me personally, to be very honest with you. I know that's a question people ask. For me, I would have liked this to continue to be at least some sort of a dynamic rebase or something of that nature. If it has a tax, I'm not a happy camper because you have to wait for it to go up so much. So I would not. And also, he's playing a little bit of game theory, Sam. So what happens if the sell tax is taken away? Will people be incentivized to start selling then? It's risky. You guys have to know what you're getting into. It's risky stuff. I wish him the best. This will be my last, unless something really weird happens, which I don't think will happen. It's a Sphere video. DeFi is a journey. It is a lesson. It's an interesting lesson. We're still learning a lot of the stuff, these protocols and how they're set up, what they go through, how they do it. It's so new, guys. There's so many nuances to all of this stuff. There's even nuances in the way they set these up, the dashboards, and then they have the total burn to date, which they put in here, which is kind of cool. I appreciate everything. I appreciate the evolution of DeFi. I appreciate companies like Sphere, like Safuu, Titano pushing the envelope. I do. I appreciate it all. They're all adding their own kind of formula, their own spice, their own way of doing things. They're all building their own communities, and they're doing it a little different each time, and they're doing it a little bit better. And it's really interesting to see. A lot of you guys want me to talk more about Safuu, which I've done in the past. I will cover Safuu again. I enjoy Brian Legend. I enjoy what he's done. I kind of starting to see his vision. I'm probably going to speak to a couple of his guys, maybe do an AMA with a few of his guys that, like Daniel, who does his marketing and stuff. Well, doesn't do his marketing, but Daniel does. He covers it. He's one of the top holders in Safuu. So some of these guys are doing well. So I'm going to get in there a little bit deeper and really try to understand these protocols. The guys in Safuu are so excited, by the way. I've never seen a community so excited about their protocol. And Sphere is very similar. There's a lot of people in Sphere that are really excited. And yes, there is FUD always for any project, guys. It is what it is. I know you had On-Chain make a video about Sphere, 2 videos back to back about Sphere. And the one thing about Sphere community is they don't watch those videos. They don't care. Because when I put the videos out, I get more views than On-Chain does, but when I put my videos out, it's my own community really watching them and asking me questions. It's not Sphere community is what I realized. I'm sure On-Chain is starting to realize that too. So it's really interesting. Their communities are a cult. And there are a lot of cult-like communities in DeFi. And that is actually, is that bad? You guys tell me in the comments, what do you think? I actually am going to go on the leg and say, it's kind of cool. It's kind of cool. We become little cults. 2-3 was a cult for a moment. And then actually Astro, which is 100 Days, is a cult right now. If you go in there, those guys are a cult. They're legit cult. You can't even get people to sell in there. You'll FUD in there and everybody will be like, yeah, you should just sell. You know why they want you to sell? Because they're gonna buy it from you. They're like legit a cult. Like there are cults out there in DeFi, and it's so different than the stock market. Stock market, you might get somebody who likes a stock a lot, like Tesla has a little bit of a cult going. Remember Dell had one going, but no one's really like a cult around Disney. No one's like, I gotta have my Snapchat stock, and I'm in love with it. I will never sell my Snapchat. No one gives a fuck about Snapchat stock or Facebook stock. I mean, they'll sell it in a heartbeat over anything. But in DeFi, it's a learning lesson. If you're new to it, there's cults out there. You don't even need to join a real cult. You can just join one of these like Twitters or Discords. And it's legit the same. And there's nothing you can do to change people's minds. I realized covering DeFi, for the last couple months is it's so different than everything else. And these communities, they're their own worlds, man. And they don't like outsiders. It doesn't matter if you bring up facts or the truth. It doesn't matter. They have their own concept and their own vision of what is going to take place. So if you are looking to get into DeFi, my recommendation is don't become a follower, a cult follower. Be objective as much as you can, because I feel like when you become, and early on, I was treating some of these assets a little bit more closer to the vest than I am now. Early on, I was like, well, I'm not going to sell this. I love this. I'm going to get X amount of it, and it's going to be great. It's going to make me this much per day. I don't do that anymore. I fell into the cult trap. I'm no longer falling into the cult trap. I believe if you're going to be an investor in DeFi, you need to be objective. You cannot be a strong member in the cult. You have to be objective. That is what I have learned. And the people who are not objective in DeFi, I feel over time will not do as well trading. Now, some of you will get very lucky, because if Sphere does take off, or Safuu, or any of these other tokens that has a cult-like presence, and you were one of those people in it, and you can make a lot of money. So it's really interesting to see. But from my perspective, most of these cults do not work. You have to be more objective, which I am. So I am going to just watch Sphere play out. I wish them good luck. I wish Sim great success. I hope that everybody in Sphere makes a lot of money. I will be watching. If the cell tax goes away, I believe this will probably go down a little bit. I might be a buyer. I don't want to pay a buy or sell tax for a token that doesn't rebase. That's me. That's the way I think. Obviously, very obviously, Sphere people don't care about that. So it is what it is. But that's how I look at it from my objective standpoint. But I will be waiting on the sidelines if one day the sell tax comes off and there's no buy tax still. I see nothing wrong with this investment. If there was no buy tax, sell tax right now, I might actually even buy it, to be very honest with you. You see, when you don't have a buy tax and a sell tax, they could list this token, for example, on major exchanges. They would have no problems listing Sphere on at least 5 or 6 decent exchanges, by the way. It's a game changer. So I'm sure they have a plan in motion for this long term, but that alone would probably take the price up significantly. There's a lot of value to be dragged out of Sphere long term. It's just that they probably haven't implemented those things yet. I'm thinking they will at some point. When that is, I don't know. But this is what I've been told by the whales. They're like, DK, you got to be patient. This is going to take some time. Listen, guys, I'm here to help in DeFi. I'm here to help. So I will listen to these people. I will take their advice. They have stepped me back from the ledge. We will see what happens. I'm excited for 2022, the second half, to see what DeFi brings. It has been a crazy 2022, the first half of it. It has been absolutely bonkers. The second half probably won't be as crazy, because a lot of the crap tokens and shit tokens have been weeded out. And that's good. And now you're starting to see the good stuff kind of rise to the top. The great finances, the EMPs. You're starting to see, with Frozen Walrus, you're starting to see Magic Finance. If it ever does something, Owen. Kidding. Magic Finance is my favorite investment. One day it will be the top of all the Tomb Forks on Phantom. One day. Actually, it might already be, since Phantom has crashed so much. So, all of these experiments, we're all learning. It's wild out here. Don't go into DeFi half-ass or half-hearted. You will get fucked. Completely fucked. There's no other way of putting it. You must invest time, energy, and brains, which is also in short supply sometimes around here. But anyway, guys, I hope that was helpful. I wish the best to the Sphere community and to Sim. Good night. Take care.